Born around 430 BCE in the Athenian district of Urkia, a young aristocrat named Xenophon entered a world already at war. His father, Grillus, belonged to Athens' elite, but privilege would not shield Xenophon from history's turbulence. The Peloponnesian War raged throughout his youth, shaping his mind in an age of collapsing empires. Xenophon of Athens would become a soldier, historian, philosopher, and one of antiquity's most remarkable survivors. As a student and contemporary of Socrates, he became one of our primary sources for the philosopher's life, alongside Plato and Aristophanes. But Xenophon's destiny was not confined to philosophy. It was forged on the battlefield. He is most famous not as a student, but as a commander. In 401 BCE, he joined a Greek mercenary force, the 10,000, hired by Cyrus the Younger to seize the Persian throne from his brother, Artaxerxes II. The campaign began with ambition, but it would descend into catastrophe. In his masterpiece, Anabasis, Xenophon recounts the extraordinary journey of these mercenaries. Composed around 370 BCE, it offers a first-person account of survival deep inside the Persian Empire. In 401 BCE, roughly 13,000 Greek mercenaries marched inland from Sardis, seeking to crown Cyrus king.
Soldiers of the realm! The hour of our advance and claim victory! Victory!
They advanced into Mesopotamia, far from home, into the heart of imperial power. They met royal forces at the Battle of Cunaxa, north of Babylon. The Greeks won on their flank, disciplined, deadly, unstoppable. But Cyrus was killed in the fighting, turning tactical victory into strategic disaster. Stranded in enemy territory, thousands of miles from Greece, the army faced annihilation. The Persian satrap Tissaphernes betrayed them, executing their senior generals under the guise of peace talks. Leaderless and surrounded, the soldiers elected new commanders, among them the young Athenian Xenophon.
Soldiers, the night is dark, but our fire burns bright. We march at dawn, for victory and for glory.
What followed was one of history's greatest military escapes.
The long retreat begins.
The army undertook a grueling 1,500-mile retreat northward.
For months, they marched northward, across deserts without food, through snow-choked passes in Armenia, under relentless attack. Then came the moment that echoed through history. From the summit of Mount Thechis, the vanguard saw the Black Sea shimmering in the distance. They cried out in unison, "Talata, Talata! The sea, the sea!" Reaching the Greek city of Trapezus meant safety. They had survived the impossible. Only about 6,000 of the original force survived the 2-year odyssey. The remnants later joined Spartan campaigns against Persia. The story revealed the vulnerability of the Persian Empire. It would later influence commanders like Alexander the Great, who studied Xenophon's account before launching his own invasion of Persia. Centuries later, the epic retreat inspired modern fiction, including the cult classic film The Warriors. Yet Xenophon was not only a soldier, he was also a defender of his teacher. In works like Memorabilia and Apology, he portrayed Socrates differently than Plato did. Where Plato's Socrates wrestled with abstract ideals, Xenophon's was practical, focused on discipline, ethics, and self-mastery. He wrote to defend Socrates against charges of impiety, emphasizing his moral strength and everyday wisdom. Xenophon became a pioneer of military memoir and leadership literature. In Hellenica, he continued the history of Greece where Thucydides left off. In Cyropedia, he explored the idea of the ideal ruler through a partly fictional portrait of Cyrus the Great. He even wrote practical manuals on horsemanship, cavalry command, and household management. Much of his later life was spent in exile from Athens, living under Spartan protection before settling in Corinth. Xenophon's life stands as proof that history is not written only by conquerors, but by those who survive.